Welcome to Real Estate Real World, where we talk to the movers, shakers, and leaders that are getting it done right now in the real estate industry and beyond. I'm your host, Marguerite Crispillo, and I started this podcast simply dedicated to calling people about what's really happening in this crazy roller coaster ride of real estate. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and stay up to date on the newest stuff by adding yourself to the list at www.realestaterealworld.com. Now, let's dive into the world of real estate. Hello, everybody. Guess what? It is time for Real Estate Real World, and I am Marguerite Crispillo, your host. Guess what? Today we have a very distinguished guest. We have Krista Mashore, who is a distinguished real estate professional and digital marketing expert with over 2 decades of experience. She must have started when she was 5. She is consistently ranked among the top 1% of real estate agents nationwide, personally selling more than 2,300 homes. Transitioning from sales, Krista founded Krista Mashore Coaching, where she leverages her extensive industry experience to mentor agents, coaches, and professionals across the nation. Her innovative approach to digital marketing and sales has propelled her coaching business from inception to $59 million in just 6 years. As a prolific author, Krista has penned 6 best-selling books focusing on digital marketing and sales strategies. Her expertise has been recognized by Yahoo Finance, naming her the #1 digital marketer to watch in 2021, and by Success Magazine, listing her among the top 125 most impactful leaders in 2022, alongside industry giants like Tony Robbins. Krista holds a master's degree in curriculum and instruction, reflecting her dedication to education and continuous learning. Through her coaching, teaching, speaking, and training, she is revolutionizing the way professionals market themselves online, offering a step-by-step approach to establishing a significant digital footprint. So, hello, and welcome, Krista.
Hi there. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, Marguerite. We've known each other for a very long time.
It's funny because I was trying to think back when we first met, and I know it was back in the REO days. And I want to say there was an event in Colorado, if I'm not mistaken. And it was kind of this cool old building. I don't know if you even remember. And I just remember the whole building being really like dark paneling. I think it was in Colorado we were. Anyway, I remember meeting you thinking, gosh, she's so pretty. I'm so pretty for REO, because the REO world is a rough one.
Yeah, that was 17 years ago. Yes, 2008. Yep. We were both
That's exactly. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. That was actually my best year in real estate. I sold 169 REOs.
Oh, in that year?
Yeah, that was my best year in real estate. I've always sold over 100, and I averaged 133, but you know what it's like selling REOs. And I was
2012 was my best year. I sold 226 homes that year.
Oh my gosh. That's
insane. That year landed me on the #7 in California, and I think 66 on the Wall Street Journal. But it was crazy, because the funny thing is, then like my average sales price was like 120,000 or something.
Yeah, me too.
We were working our behinds off,
how hard you work with REO. I remember doing a BPO, and you'd spend 3 hours doing a BPO, and then the thing would crash. Oh. And you'd be like, and it would happen like 10 times a week. It was nightmare.
I know, I laugh because I remember doing BPOs, and agents are like, I'm not doing BPOs for $50. And I'm like, that's milk money for my kids. So yes, I'll take the $50. Yeah. And then we developed this system. I remember I was messaging. I worked a lot with a company called Mark to Market. I think they're still around, but Mark to Market did tons of BPOs. And the guy who had just started his company, and he was on the East Coast. So it would be like 2 a.m. and I'd get orders from this guy like 2 a.m. and I'd be awake accepting him, and he's like, if you can get 10 done by 10 a.m., we give you 10 more. It was wild.
Oh, the good thing about though is that actually got you to get your REOs, right?
For sure. That's how I definitely survived going through the downturn and getting through those markets. Yeah. So how did you end up in real estate originally?
My story is I was a teacher. And then my daughter got really sick. And so I ended up leaving teaching to become a full-time stay-at-home mom, which led me to not being a stay-at-home mom, which what led me to, like, my husband left me at the time. So my husband left me. We just bought a brand new house. All of a sudden I get this knock at the door. It's the new girlfriend driving my car. And
Wow.
my bank accounts were drained. So I had to go from trying to play real estate to stay home with my daughter who was sick to being like a full-time agent. So that's how I got into it.
Wow, that's a wild story.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
So when and what year was that?
That was around 2003, 2000, yeah, 2000, 2002, 2003.
So right before the market crash. So things were going well and then the market crashed. So how did you handle that?
Yeah, I was like you. I knew something was going to happen because I was like, you from one week to the next, a house would sell for $100,000 more on the same street, the same price. So I was like, this isn't going to last. So
Right.
I started sending packages. I would send a big package. It said, let me knock your socks off. So I had socks. Let me rock your socks off. So I had pop rocks and a sock. And then inside had like my whole BPO, how I had money and my contractors and how I knew how to do BPOs. And I had my CDP credential and my BPOR. And I said that. And that's how I landed my first REO account, which was Nationwide REO Brokers. And then I got 13 of them from there. So that saved me.
Wow. Oh my goodness. So you were relatively new in the industry when you went into REO.
Not too bad. I mean, it was like 6, 7 years. So it didn't
Yeah.
seem, yeah, that year, but not new that, you know.
So I'm fascinated by the box that you sent, which is clearly brilliant when it comes to marketing. So you claim to be a master marketer, which you are. And how did you go that direction? Like, how did you start figuring out how valuable and how important marketing was?
I don't think I actually knew that it was marketing when I first started doing it, but I remember getting into real estate and thinking, oh my gosh, I got to make this work because the situation I was in. And so I was looking at what other top producers did. And there was one lady that she dominated the entire couple cities near me. And so I saw that she was on the buses, right? So I got on the buses and then I was like, I want to take one step further. I'm going to get on Comcast TV. So I got on Comcast local TV. And then I like hired this videographer. This is 20 something years ago. And I had him like do a commercial for me. And I took that commercial and I put it on Comcast and they also put it in local movie theaters. And I just crushed it. So I just learned to become a marketer. And then everybody else was, let's just say, doing a black and white flyer. I would do a 4-page color brochure. I'd take a CD with 50 pictures on it and I put it on my signs. I just did everything that nobody else was doing. That's how
Wow.
and then I just from there just started hiring people that were marketing and not inside real estate, but outside. And I took these concepts I would learn outside of real estate in marketing and put them inside real estate.
Were you following anyone in particular, or did you end up going to a class or learn any of it, read a
I
book?
mean, it's been so long. I couldn't even tell you. I think it was more from just me watching people. And like, I remember thinking, okay, I just look at big brands and I was like, why are they doing the TV? And why are they like, I remember seeing Macy's and Nordstrom on Facebook advertising. And as soon as I saw them, I paid a guy like $15,000 and I flew to San Diego and he taught me how to run Facebook ads. And then I started running Facebook ads and with video and no one else was doing it, of course. And then as soon as I heard about sales funnels, I hired Russell Brunson, learned how to do sales funnels and started using sales funnels in my real estate business. And it's just different. I wanted to be different than everybody else. And that's how I did it.
And I know you've won a bunch of awards with ClickFunnels and Russell Branson too, right? Didn't
Yeah.
you, like Calma clubs and things like that? I
Yeah.
don't know exactly what all those awards are, but
Yeah. We've done $11 million sales funnels and we got two $10 million sales funnels and then two $25 million sales funnels. Russell says, and now I have my own funnel software called the Measure Method, but he says I'm the number one world's sales funnel builder in real estate.
oh, wow, that's
The
impressive.
world's best real estate marketing sales funnel person. Yes, that's me.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And now you have a whole team that helps you now, right?
Yeah. So now I coach people how to utilize digital marketing, social media, and video, utilizing sales funnels and just doing things very different. Like I'll give you some ideas. So one of the things I teach my students is how to create a sales funnel for a specific neighborhood. So they'll create a funnel for a neighborhood, and then I teach them how to do a market update for that neighborhood, and then how to have a very specific funnel for a neighborhood. So when a seller calls them or a buyer calls them, they can send them to the neighborhood funnel, which is all about the neighborhood, right? That's one thing we teach. And then we teach them how, like, we've created a course on selling, a course on buying that I give to my students, and they become a course creator, not to sell the course, but to position themselves as the authority in real estate for a seller or to a buyer. So just like very non-traditional type of things is what I teach, and what helped me become, who I am today, if that makes sense.
It's interesting because I want to say that way back in the day, like when you were talking about, I learned that phrase as well, that we're not a real estate agent, we're a marketer. And if you
Yeah.
learn how to market and you become a great marketer, then you'll never want for business or leads, right? You'll always find a way to market to get the calls in the door. And I figured it out of desperation because I went to a cold calling class back in the day. And I was there for maybe 15 minutes and wanted to throw up. I said, I can't do
Yeah, oh
this.
God, no.
I'm like,
I've
there's no way.
never ever once cold called. I think I'd rather shoot myself. Like, I could not
That's
do
what I
it.
said. I'm like, I got to find another way. I'm not going to make it if this is the deal. And so I'm like, how can I get people to call me instead of me cold calling them? And so that's how I started to figure out marketing was more out of desperation than anything.
Yeah, me too. It's funny. You know that McDonald's, there was a story about Ray getting declined for a loan. And there's this guy next to him that said, "Hey, Ray, you're not in the hamburger business, you're in the real estate business." And so what I tell my students at the world is, you're not in the real estate business, you're in the marketing of your real estate business. Like, you want to be a top producer, you got to be a top marketer. Like,
Yeah.
everything revolves around marketing. If you think about the sales cycle, it's like marketing. If you're a good marketer, you'll generate not just leads, but higher quality leads. But you have to nurture those leads, the third step of the sales cycle. And if you nurture those leads, you'll convert them. And then you have to make sure that you give great service. And then you have to make sure you refer, retain, resell, relist. And that all applies to marketing. So almost every phase of the sales cycle, with the exception of the results that you get people, has to do with some form or another of marketing. And so that is why agents have the biggest gap in their businesses, because they are very transactional. Everything is transactional, one-to-one, or they're relational, which is great. Relationships, kind of like what they teach pop buys and all that, but there's only a certain amount of relationships that you can carry at one time and do it well. You have to learn to market one to many. And when you can market one to many, and you can do so in a very different, innovative way, which makes you stand out, it becomes very easy to be a top producing agent, because most real estate agents are all doing the exact same thing. So when you learn how to market in a way that you market to the masses locally, and you do it standing out, it's very easy to dominate.
So right now, obviously, we're all in the same boat. The market is shifting and changing a bit, right? We've seen over this last year, you made a comment earlier that 77% of agents didn't even sell a house last year.
Yep. According to Inman.
So,
Yep.
so what are you doing differently to support your agents and to help encourage your agents, and giving just some insight into how they can survive these changing times?
Yeah. So that's a good question. I only sell right now just enough to keep my foot in the door, if that makes sense. I was telling you, the year I left real estate, I'd sold 154 homes to become a real estate coach. This year, my team did 17 transactions, but it's because I'm not there, number one. But they're just doing enough so I can test things. And what works the best, again, is like, I've had so many agents have the best year of their career this past year, the past 2 years, because they're just being different. And again, it's innovation and differentiation and exposure. So the more that you can do things differently and make sure you get the most amount of attention, it's the easiest way to do well. And I do it through sales funnels, and like, everyone's doing this box. I'll show you. Like, I was the creator of this box. I've been doing this 5 years before I left real estate, which is like dropping off a box like this to before a listing presentation. Or we teach people how to run ads and get people to request a market analysis. And then inside the box, there's like a marketing plan. There's a book. There's all these things. Like I was telling you, I did with REO. We did the same thing for sellers. So you'll figure out how you'll run ad campaigns, get a seller to raise their hand, request a market analysis, and then you send them this box. And in the box, there's a QR code. The QR code goes to a sales funnel. That's information about their neighborhood, or it's like a seller course or a buyer course. And then we teach them to do things like that with like expired listings or for sale by owner. Instead of calling everyone else does, you drop off a box and it has all this information. And so those are the kind of things that you need to do right now to stand out. So you just need more market share. And the only way to get more market share is to be seen more. And then once you are seen, to be able to make sure that you knock it out of the park by just being different. Oh my God, my dog just farted and it was the right one. Like my nose, man. It's like dog farts like crazy. Wow. I'm tasting it right now. I'm tasting dog fart.
You're hilarious, Krista. So with that, you're seeing agents are having to do more unique type things. They're having to
Yeah.
get more creative, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah. And also, the consumer is smarter. Okay. If you think about this past year, we have had so much negative press with NAR, the lawsuits, like all these things everywhere. Media loves negativity. So they've just been like, agents suck, no one's needed, the whole new commission structure. You have to educate people more than ever right now, right? And so
100%. Yeah.
yeah, for a long time, people have felt like agents are overpaid. And quite frankly, they are. Like in many cases, most cases, agents are overpaid. And so people expect more. And because of the internet and how they can educate themselves, they expect more. And you have to really be different. You can't just do the things you used to do. When I would go on a listing, I didn't lose. I mean, it like no joke. This sounds and it sounds unrealistic, but or not real, but I would win like 99 out of 100 listings I would go on because I did what I told you. I'd drop the box off and they go on this workflow. And I forgot my point, but people expected it. And what they would tell me was they would always call me and say, Krista, we're interviewing top producers. You're one of them, right? Like I was a top producer. So people would research. Now they research like crazy and they know more information than most agents do. But
100%.
when I would get there, they would always say, no one did what you did. Like not one person dropped off a marketing plan. I send them to a 15-minute marketing, it's a listing presentation pre-marketing video where it talks all about retargeting, geo-targeting, all this stuff that we do online. And we show how we beat Zillow by 200,000 views. And no one else is doing that. So they always say things like, no one did that. And it's a shame that no one's doing that because number one, they haven't been taught to, and they should. Right. If just doing those kind of things will ensure that not only you get to actually get interviewed, but you actually get the listing. But most agents just don't treat their business. And I say this with love. I love agents. Right? I was one for 24 years, but they just don't treat their business like a business and they don't invest in their business. And it's so easy to get your license. It's so easy to get your license that they think they can just do that when it comes to actually being an agent. So I think.
Yeah, it's interesting because, again, we mentioned early on how 77 didn't do a deal. And we're seeing a mass exodus out of the industry as well. A lot of these people who got in long enough to, as I say, piss off their family and friends and get out, right? They've done a handful of deals and it's not as easy as it was. And they really have to learn the basics and understand and learn marketing.
Yeah.
So I know you're very education based. So are you teaching classes on marketing and how you market and what you do? What is your free seat?
Yeah. So if you go to KristaMashore.com/free seat, we teach agents how to utilize social media, video, sales funnels to really differentiate themselves. And we teach them how to like what marketing is and how to market. And then from there, we sell a coaching program. So they go to a 3-day event. The 3-day event's $48. And then they invest in 12-month long coaching program, which teaches them everything they can learn about real estate, but how to do it in a very different manner. Like we don't teach cold calling or door knocking or any of that. We just teach like marketing, sales funnels, video, digital marketing. We teach all of that. So that's how we're helping agents not only do well, but surpass their previous numbers in one of the worst markets we've had in, like you said, 40 years.
So in the 3-day event, is that a live event?
It's a live virtual, but it's virtual. So they just do it from their home. So it's 5 hours a day, 3 days a week. I'm sorry, 3 days. It's Monday through Wednesday from 8 a.m. Pacific to 1 o'clock Pacific. It's virtual and we have it every month. We just have one this week. I have a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So I look like crap. I'm exhausted. I finished it yesterday. I'm like, I haven't even washed my hair today because I'm like, plus I'm getting it done tomorrow. So I'm like, I'm not going to wash it till it looks greasy right now. But yeah.
We can't tell on the video.
Yeah. No, I look like a hot mess right now. I should have put more makeup on.
You look great. So what are you most excited about that's coming soon for you that you're working on?
I would love to talk about something that isn't really helped me that much, but my favorite thing that I've done, it's actually in there, is I wrote a book called Stop, Snap, and Switch. And actually I have a new book that just came out called Top Producer Secrets. That's a great book, Top Producer Secrets. It's literally just got published, and it's agents from across the country that are top producers saying what they did in 2024 to be top producers. But my favorite book is called Stop, Snap, and Switch, and it's all about mindset. And I love it. It's a passion project. I don't make money from it, but it's a way to teach you how to control your mind so that you can have all the health and wealth and success that you want. Because I don't even know this about me, but I haven't lived at home since I was 13. Did you know that?
I've heard the story, but I would love you to share the story
Have
on
you
our.
heard it? I don't really share it much, but in fact, I think the first time I ever shared it was on stage at Brinko's event. That was the first time I
That's
ever
where I heard it. Yeah.
publicly, and I almost choked up on stage. But yeah, I always like to preface this: a great childhood, a very loving dad, very loving mom. And I actually asked permission from my mom to be able to share the story, but she was very physically abusive when I was younger. So when I turned 13, I had enough of it, started running away, and I ended up like in a group home, juvenile hall first for 3 or 4 months, and then I got sent to a group home for girls, for troubled girls. I stayed there for a year. And then I got sent to a foster home. So it really messes with your mindset. Like when physical abuse from a parent, you feel like you're not worthy, you're not loved. So I still kind of I have to really work on my mindset about feeling like I'm good enough, kind of a thing. But that was the reason why I wrote that book, because a lot of counseling, a lot of self-help, a lot of mental work to be able to go from that, not knowing how to read until you 5th grade and wetting the bed until 13, from the just hard to now being able to have multiple $1 million businesses and to really create a really great, happy life. It's from let me grab one.
Yeah, go grab one.
Yeah, but it's like so I've written 7 best-selling books. So this is the one that was this year, Top Producer Secrets. And then this is the one I wrote, Sell 100 Homes a Year, when I first got into real estate.
I have that one.
Yeah, to become a coach. And then this is my favorite one. And this is the one that I really would love to just go viral, because it's all about research about the mind and how it works. And I believe if you can do this, then you can do this. Like, you got to do this first to be able to be a top producer. So
where can they get those books?
They can just go on Amazon and type in Krista Mashore, Stop, Snap, and Switch. I can also get you a free e-copy and a free audio copy. So I can do that too for your show notes. Cause I'm not trying to make money on it. I just love
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, most definitely. And then we'll put the link to Amazon if people want to buy the hard copy too.
Yeah. I'll get that too. So that'll be fun to get that too. I'm excited to share that.
I'm excited to read that one, because like I said, I have your other one. I don't have all my books in here right now, but I have your other one, the first one you showed.
Sell 100 Homes a Year, yeah.
Yeah. So I remember getting that one.
It's crazy. All the stuff in here is still 100% relevant today, because it's all marketing, right? And then all the agents that are in this are all utilizing the principles I taught them, and that's how they remain top producer status. And it's all marketing principles. So
that's amazing. Those are fantastic. I have my book I wrote, My 100 Things I Love About You.
Let me see, what's it called?
100 Things I Love About You.
I love the name. So good.
If you, after the show, text me your address and I'll mail you one.
I want one.
Yeah. Krista,
I love you. Like, I have always thought you're just such a great human, and I can't wait to have you on my podcast. Fired up. So we're going to get you on my podcast. And just
I know, I'm super excited about that.
Yeah. I always put, like, whenever I'm on a podcast, I put it on mine. So that will help you as well. Her podcast is called Real Estate, Real World. So when you're watching when you're watching me on my podcast, go to her podcast, Real Estate, Real World, and support Marguerite.
Yeah, we'll get you. Krista, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a great conversation. I'm actually excited to get your newest book and read that one, because I could definitely use some mindset adjustments, as we all do, right?
Everybody, yeah, me too, all the time, constantly working on it.
Are you going to be in Cabo? I'm
not. I need to just hunker down and kind of it's just so many events, so I really want to kind of focus on, I'm launching a new, what I teach realtors, I'm launching to local professionals. So that's like my focus of the next 90 days.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure. I'm sad I won't see you in Cabo, but I'm sure I'll see you locally here soon. Sure. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. All right, everybody. Thank you again for joining us on Real Estate Real World, where we get to talk to all the cool people who are moving and shaking out there in the world. So be sure to follow us on all the social media. And if you feel so inclined, drop us a great review. Go out and make it an amazing day and shine bright. Thank you for joining us today on Real Estate Real World, where we talk with masters and leaders in the real estate industry and beyond on how we can raise the bar in our industry. Please subscribe over on iTunes, and while you're there, be sure to give us a review. Your reviews encourage us and help others to find our podcast for show notes and hot topics on what's going on right now in our real estate industry. Also, hop on over to www.realestaterealworld.com and add your name to our email to get early advance notice of upcoming podcasts. Thanks again for listening, and go out there and be a part of the elite masterclass and raising the bar on the real estate industry.